Hey, Janet Yellen, deportations would reduce inflation. Reduce inflation, and you know this, but you're a political hack, so you got to pretend it would not. Why would deportations reduce inflation? I just can't believe this lady is that. She can't be this dumb. She might be, actually. She might be. So she'd have a great place in the Kamala administration, the Hills Up Harris administration, because smarts aren't something that we need in the Democratic Party. Anyway, so Janet Yellen was on, I don't know, CNBC or something like that, and the guy was asking about deportation of illegal immigrants. And of course, she said, these people are here to work. They're creating jobs, cheap labor. She didn't say cheap labor, but she was implying that, they're agriculture, construction, making our goods are cheap, which means cheap labor, Janet Yellen. Anyway, but why would deportations reduce inflation? This is so easy to figure out once you know how inflation, the CPI numbers are calculated. Because housing is by far and away the number one item in CPI. Nothing comes remotely close. It's like I don't have my book right here, but it's like 47% or something like that of all CPI is based on housing. And what are these illegal immigrants doing? Oh, they're driving up the prices of houses significantly. Do you not know the, quote, Republican, unquote, mayor of Springfield, Illinois, Ohio? He owns all these rentals that he paid big bucks for, apparently. And guess who's renting them from him? Oh, that's right, the illegal immigrants from Haiti. But they're not illegal. They got the temporary protection status. They're illegal, 100%. Just because some guy, by the way, did you know slavery was legal? Slavery is legal. All right, and this is slavery. No other way around that. Anyway, the point being is, at the end of the day, housing is by far and away the biggest aspect of inflation. And we have massive amounts of people who shouldn't be there competing for fewer and fewer housing. All right, the supply and demand, man. When supply is flat, if not low, and demand is through the roof, guess what happens to prices? Oh, it spikes. And that's not going to be offset. That price in housing is not going to be offset by a decrease in food items and textiles. Because the facts are, illegal immigrants do make things cheaper because they are cheap labor. Indentured servitude is basically what it is, to make the rich landowners and the rich business owners wealthy. So you pay less at the grocery, but you pay a hell of a lot more at your home, because you're in competition for illegal immigrants who are being given housing that Springfield Ohioans would normally have. Watch my man Nick Johnson's video the other day. I love Nick Johnson, man. He has his boy Mappy, and he went to Springfield, Ohio, and was interviewing all these people. Very interesting, and talk about how these homeless guys, these homeless white guys, were saying, dude, I used to have a house here, but I got put out because essentially they put the Haitians in there. And you can say, oh, they're lying. Okay, well, you can say they're lying. Okay, because you would know more than the guy who's saying this, right? Very interesting. So why is it happening? Oh, because the guy said I couldn't pay the $1,500 a month he wanted now for rent. Before I was able to pay whatever it is, $1,200. I can't remember what he said. Before I was able to afford it, now I can't. Where are the Haitians getting the money for the rent? And then it's funny too. You see, we watched a Haitian guy go by with a $100,000 Lexus SUV, and this other guy said he's living in a van essentially down by the river. All right. So what happens when all these people are sent away, sent packing? All right. What happens? Can they still come and pick our freaking strawberries on a seasonal basis? Of course they can. We used to do that for freaking decades and decades and decades. When I lived in Maine, we had Cape Elizabeth, Maine. We had Maxwell's Farm, strawberry farms. No longer, apparently they went out of business just last year or something like that. And we have these seasonal Cambodians come in there, and they'd freaking fly up and down the aisles, dude. While the locals, me, would eat one, pick five, eat one. I mean, these Cambodians are crazy. It's awesome. They're freaking crushing. And then they go back to wherever they came from. And then if you read John Irving's book, Cider House Rules, they'd have actually labor from the South, Southern blacks that come up and pick the apples in the summertime, and then go back to the South with their money in hand. That's the way it used to be. That's the way it used to be, and that's the way it should be. We should absolutely, if you want to come here and do work that for a cheaper wage, absolutely, I got no problem with that. But you shouldn't become a citizen for heaven's sake. You should say, okay, I can go back to where I'm come. I'll come do the work and leave. 100%. We shouldn't be enrolling you in our schools, No, this is insanity. Now, if you get in a hurt, you should absolutely be able to go to the emergency room. I got no problem with that. But you got to go back to where you're from when the picking season's done. 100%. Construction, it's funny how construction always seemed to be worked back in the old days, even though we didn't have cheap labor. It was weird in terms of cheap labor, imported labor, if you know what I'm saying. How construction, we still were able to build houses. It's kind of crazy. And yet houses were actually relatively cheap compared to where they are now in terms of our median income and then the median cost of a house. Housing is expensive. Why would that be? Why is housing so expensive? Oh, because a vast amount of freaking illegals. It's just, not just illegals, legals too. It's insane. And Janet Yellen knows this. So for every house that the illegal immigrants are causing to go up in price, that is dwarfing the reduction in the blueberries that you have to pay at the grocery. It's so insane, dude. These people are evil. There's no way around that. There's a great replacement. It's not just they're trying to replace whites. They're trying to replace working blacks too, by the way. More than 1 in 4 working blacks are going to vote for Trump, and I bet it's even more than that. They don't want working men. They do not like working American men. They want us removed from society. Not eliminated like freaking Hitler or something like that. They just want us to be lessened because they know that we are the men they can't control. But they can certainly control. If you're living on the government dime, they can certainly control you and tell you how to live. That's for sure. You don't take something in 2020 and you're armed, guess what? Your welfare benefits are going to be sent. You won't get them. It's just, I can't believe Janet Yellen's that dumb. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts. Don't forget to paw the like button.